Yo, what's up guys? It's Nick from Begins Gaming and welcome back to another Madden 20 player rating reactions. And today is going to be all the O linemen in one video. I didn't want to do like center, left tackle, left guard, right tackle, because that would just take forever. And I like to talk about them all together. Obviously there is no face cam for this video. There won't be for the other video of today because I'm filming these videos in advance. So yesterday, technically like an hour ago for me, but for you guys, yesterday I was filming videos and my camera died and none of my batteries are charged, and I don't really have time to wait for it because I have to make these videos before the 5th inning program comes out so I can grind that. But yeah, I'm just not gonna have a face cam for today's video. Sunday, the face cam will be back. So yeah, today I'm going to be going over my rankings for the O linemen. And those of you who actually don't know, I actually am an offensive lineman in real life. I do play football. I'm going to be a sophomore in high school, those of you who don't know, and I am an offensive lineman. So I know a lot more. I know like 5 times more about like how offensive linemen work than all the other positions. So I know a lot more for this video than I ever will for any of the other rating videos. So first, I actually didn't go with David Bakhtiari as my number 1. I went with Zach Martin. Now here's why. I've seen this guy play so many times because I'm a Giants fan, and it's so annoying how good the Cowboys O-line is. The Giants, I love watching all these good O-linemen, just being an O-lineman and seeing how they play, but it's just so annoying that I'm a Giants fan because the Eagles, you'll see the Eagles will have 4 players in the top 20, and the Cowboys have 3 in the top 5. So the Eagles and the Cowboys have, in my opinion, the 2 best O-lines in football, and they're like my team's 2 biggest rivals, which kind of sucks because I love all these guys that are on their teams. But I have Zach Martin number 1, and he has just been so consistent. I think he's the most consistent out of all these guys throughout their entire careers. You know, David Bakhtiari is a really good player, and you will see him later very soon. But Zach Martin has been the most consistent out of all these linemen, and I think that he's the best. I have him as a 98 instead of a 96. Next, I have David Bakhtiari as a 97, so I agree with the rating, but I feel like Zach Martin's a better player. I really like what he's doing for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's his blind side. Blindside guys are so valuable in today's game, especially with injuries to quarterbacks. But he is so valuable to the Packers, and he is one of the best O-linemen in the league. Next, I have another blindside guy, Trent Williams. He's number 3 in Madden. He's number 3 on my list. I agree with the rating. I think he's a 95. His punching rating should be in 100, though. Those of you guys who don't know what I'm talking about, just look up Trent Williams punches Richard Sherman. That's all you need to see. Okay, next I have Travis Frederick, another Dallas Cowboy, who in my opinion should be a 95 instead of a 94. I just feel like him and the next player should be higher than the 6th player. That's why I have him as a 95. And the next player is Tyron Smith, another Cowboy. Tyron Smith, he is so good. All 3 of these Cowboys are so consistent. That's like my number 1 priority is consistency. That's why David Bakhtiari is number 2 instead of number 1. Because he had like 1 bad year, I think, but he's still so good. And then at number 6 we have Jason Kelce at a 94. I think that he is not as good as Travis Frederick and Tyron Smith. That's why they have 95s, and Kelce has a 94. But Jason Kelce is still 2nd best center in the league. Very, very good player. Then at number 7, I have David DeCastro, and I agree with this rating. I think he should be a 93. I really like what he's done. You know, not many people, I bet you most people that watch this video will only know like 5 names because they're all linemen. They don't really get that much credit. I know how it feels, but I feel like David DeCastro is so underrated. He is really, really good. If it wasn't for Zach Martin, he'd be the best guard in the league, in my opinion. But yeah, I really like him. And then next, I have Marshall Yanda, who's a little lower than he usually is in Madden. In Madden, he's a 91. I have him as a 93. I don't see him declining that much. Madden has him declining a lot more than I think that he is. I think that he is still an incredibly talented guard. He's been on the Ravens. He's been in the top of the O-lineman rankings for so long. I love Marshall Yanda. Then at number 9, I have Rodney Hudson, who I agree with the rating as a 93, but I think that the ranking should be lower. Even though he is, in my opinion, the third best center in the league, I really think that Marshall Yanda and David DeCastro have had much more success than Rodney Hudson. Even though Rodney Hudson is really good, I feel like DeCastro has had more superstar years. Same thing with Marshall Yanda. And then at number 10, I have Andrew Whitworth. Andrew Whitworth is a 93. The only reason that he's 10 and not higher is because he is aging. Now, Andrew Whitworth is not declining that much as a normal 37 or 36-year-old player would, but he is still so incredibly talented. This was 3 years ago. He'd probably be my number 1, maybe my number 2, depending on if it was Marshall Yanda. But he has just been so good. And that pickup for the Rams before they broke out with Sean McVay, that has been so huge for the Rams. I think if they didn't sign him, they wouldn't have made the Super Bowl last year. Just because of the holes on the O-line besides him. I mean, they still have some good guys, but Andrew Whitworth is really so incredibly talented. Next, I have Mitchell Schwartz at a 92 instead of a 93, like Madden has him. Mitchell Schwartz is a very, very, very good tackle, but he has had less good years than the guys ahead of him. That's why I have him below Andrew Whitworth. I think that Andrew Whitworth is a better player, and I think that Mitchell Schwartz has a lot more time, but I feel like that he's had less time to prove himself. Next, I have Brandon Brooks. He is a right guard for the Eagles. Another Eagle on the list. Brandon Brooks, 92 overall in my opinion. He is a 90 in Madden. I feel like that all these ratings are inflated for the O-linemen. I think that I have a lot more 90s than Madden has, that's for sure. You guys will see. But Brandon Brooks, he is very, very good. He's been on the Eagles for a while. I really like what he's doing. Joe Staley is next. He used to be like a 97 or a 98. Age is a thing. It is a factor. He's still very, very good. But he's a little worse than before. Lane Johnson I have next as a 91, and the only reason I don't have him as higher is because he took steroids. That's the only reason I don't have him higher. So I feel like if he didn't get caught for steroids, he'd be like a 96, in my opinion. So yeah, I do like Lane Johnson a lot. I think he's a really good player, but steroids might be a little factor. That's why my rating is a little lower. Lane Johnson has an 89 in Madden. Alex Mack, I have him as a 91. Madden has him as an 89. I think even a 91 is a little lower, on the lower side for him. I mean, he's just, back when he was on the Browns, he was so good for them. He signed with the Falcons, and then they immediately made the Super Bowl. I mean, he has just been so great. Whichever team he goes benefits from having him. He has been so consistent. He has been one of the most consistent guys out of all these guys. It's just that I feel like he's a little lower than the guys ahead of him. Next, I have Kevin Zeitler from my New York Giants, and even though I haven't really watched him play for my Giants yet, I already know I'm going to love this guy. Kevin Zeitler was traded straight up for Olivier Vernon, and I thought that was the best move the Giants made in the offseason. They traded an aging D-end who I actually really like. I really like Olivier Vernon. But they traded for a need. They traded for an O-lineman who is solidified in the NFL. He is very, very good. I have him as a 91. I can't wait to see his game for my Giants. And I'm very happy they finally have an elite O-lineman. Hernandez, I don't know why I'm blanking on his first name. but he is growing, and I don't think he's elite yet, but he definitely will be elite. Nate Soldier is old. He is just not as good as what they signed him for. Next, I have Teron Armstead as a 90 instead of an 88. He's on the Saints. He's a left tackle. Like, all these guys are so consistent. That's why these guys are up there. I'm kind of repeating myself. Number 18, I have DeMar Dotson. He's a newer one out of this list, but I really like his game. I really like how he's improved every year. He hasn't taken any steps back. He is a really good player for the Buccaneers. Number 19, I have a player who isn't in Madden's top 20, but I have Quentin Nelson. If it was based off the past year, he would be in my top 5. But just because he's a rookie, I only have him as a 90. Madden only has him as an 87. I think that is complete robbery of Quentin Nelson. Quentin Nelson, if he goes out, plays even better this year, he's a top 10 lineman, without a doubt. And then number 20, I have Jason Peters as an 89. Madden has him as an 87. I think that he's better than that. I think that Jason Peters is very, very talented. I think that, yeah, he's getting a little old and he's getting injured a little more, but he's still very, very serviceable. So, yeah, that is going to be it for this video. These have been my O-lineman rankings for Madden 20. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.